So once again, we got 3 clues. And those 3 clues we saw this morning on the Russell, they were pretty simple, right? Inside day or inside-outside day transition. There's our previous day's range. We find ourselves right at the lower end of that range. And remember, when I tumble here below that previous low of day, I now know the sellers are in charge and I'm selling on the way down. I also know that, again, that previous low of day, if we then go back up above the previous low of day, isn't that a really big clue? It is. It's the sellers failing, and therefore the buyers will push it back above the previous lows, and we then expect price to go all the way up to the previous highs. So when we exit the zone from yesterday, when we drop below the previous day's range, it's very bearish. Boy, but if those sellers, if they fail and price gets sucked back up above the previous lows, that's a big clue, and we want to buy that previous low of day and bring it right back up. We took a couple losses today because it got sloppy around that previous low of day, didn't we, guys? We learned a valuable lesson today from the previous low of day. We'll talk about that in a second. My second clue we had was this channel, right? So we got the bear channel. What does the bear channel tell me to do? It tells me to, as we keep going lower, keep selling retracements. The bear channel tells me, take your profit at the lows, sell the highs of the bear channel. Don't try to sell those lows of that bear channel. It'll be a nightmare. And the bear channel also tells me if we break up above the highs of that bear channel, I'm going to sell the highs and bring it right back down in. And then the third clue. The third clue we had was the channel structure. Mark up your A, your B, and your C. And of course, you're going to go from A to B, B to C. And of course, that combination, members, you know what we're talking about, defines your reversal zone. And your reversal zone, when I'm up below that reversal zone, that tells me get on that horse, start selling, right? We are bearish. So we're bearish below the reversal zone, right? We're bullish above the reversal zone. In this case, though, where are we? We are below that reversal zone, and we are bearish. Now, so this, obviously at this point, relatively simple. We got below the reversal zone. If I can break below that previous low of day, I'm going to sell all the way down, right, to the lower end of that channel. And remember, if price was to break back up, I'm going to buy above that previous low of day. So what happened today was we broke below the previous low of day, got a couple nice winners out of that, but then we got all sloppy here around the previous low of day, took 2 losses in the fast track. I know. It's a Thursday of OPEX. We followed the plan though. We made our money today. Great job. We went back to making new lower lows. When we saw price fade back below the previous low of day, we were selling again. And we actually found a channel hidden inside of this, and we used the ABCD in the channel as well. Let's grab a look at that real quick. We had just exited that reversal zone. So we're coming down, we're taking advantage of that, coming off those highs of that bear channel, and here comes price. Now we were able to use our AB equals CD pattern to pick up on a pattern right away. A, B, C. Now how does that work again? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure my distance from A to B. Then I'm looking for the retracement into C. The retracement gives me a zone. Now, without being too complicated here, as long as my C is in that zone, I'm then going to copy that same line I used right here and paste it right there. So now I find out that my D level should be right about there. All right, does that make sense? So A to B, right? A to B will now equal C to D. So we find this well before we get to D. So now we're going to try to complete this move down to the D. So again, we go A to B. Again, the retracement to C tells me that we should expect price to go right about there. So that's why when we see this new lower low, I sell a retracement going down and make 19 ticks. So at 935 on the Russell, it's a wave pattern short. We know the previous low of day will be a magnet. We know we get the AB equals CD pattern, right? Perfect trade this morning. Excellent job. Now, you'll notice there's a bull channel here. This wasn't here when we took that first trade. That will be in a moment. Now we're going to break down below the previous low of day. And this should have been, right? I made notes on this. I'm probably not going to make the same mistake again. We learned a bunch of lessons this morning. We saw right away this morning, didn't we? In fact, we were talking about it until no end this afternoon. We saw right away this chop and slop around the previous low of day. And it continued. It was choppy around that previous low of day all morning today.